Yoko didn't replace Faye. She was ordered to. The cold-blooded truth their fans never knew. For months, fans have been trying to understand what really happened between Faye and Yoko. Once the industry's most beloved pairing, now a ghost of a partnership that vanished without warning. On the surface, it looked like a simple shift. New schedules, new projects, new partnerships. But insiders say otherwise. What appeared to be a professional decision was, in truth, a calculated separation engineered behind closed doors. This is the complete and censored story, compiled from leaked documents, staff testimony, private messages, and internal reports, revealing how Yoko was ordered to replace Faye, why the agency targeted Faye, and how the entire operation was designed to manipulate public perception. At the height of their popularity, Fay and Yoko were unstoppable. Their chemistry was effortless, their performances electric, and their friendship undeniable. They didn't try to be iconic, they simply were. Every fan event, every behind-the-scenes moment, every micro-interaction went viral. Their bond became one of the strongest selling points of the agency's brand. But inside the agency headquarters, something else was brewing. Fear. According to several internal memos obtained from former staff, executives began expressing concerns about Faye's uncontrollable influence. Her fanbase wasn't just large, it was fiercely loyal. They demanded transparency. They called out injustice. They protested when the agency tried to push certain narratives. In the entertainment world, power like that is dangerous. Not to the industry, but to the agency's control. An executive wrote in a message, "If we do not regulate Faye's growth, we risk losing all narrative control." Those words became the seed of a strategy that would later destroy one of the strongest partnerships the industry had seen. Behind the scenes, the agency had already chosen their next investment, Grace. Grace had the look, the background, the marketability, but what she didn't have was the star power to break through quickly. She needed exposure. And to give her that, the agency needed to slowly remove a competitor while boosting Grace's visibility. The competitor? Faye. Grace was internally categorized as a long-term asset, while Faye was labeled high-risk visibility. One particularly chilling line from a manager's report states, "Grace will ascend faster if Faye's presence is reduced." Within weeks, the agency began constructing a new plan. Phase out Faye. Shift Yoko toward Grace. Build a new duo. Control the narrative. The cruelest part? They planned all this before Yoko was even told. Yoko was never supposed to be part of the plot. She was supposed to execute it. Industry analysts describe Yoko as the perfect agency asset. Disciplined, loyal, hardworking, talented, and willing to follow direction. But the agency also saw something else. She had rising popularity, but not enough to challenge authority. That made her the ideal candidate for their transition plan. An insider summarized it. They didn't want another Faye. They wanted someone moldable, and Yoko fit their design. The plan was simple and cold. Build Yoko beside Faye. Then force Yoko to step over her. Multiple sources confirmed the same story. Yoko was summoned to a private meeting with senior executives and a legal officer. No managers she trusted. No assistance. No protection. The meeting was not a discussion. It was a directive. A new schedule was placed in front of her. Every collaboration with Faye was crossed out. Every upcoming interview featuring them together was canceled. Every promotional appearance was reassigned. Next to each line item, redirect to Grace. Yoko reportedly asked, "Can I at least speak to Faye about this?" The legal officer responded, "No. You will proceed with Grace immediately." The tone was firm, final, and emotionless. The message was clear. This is not a choice. This is an order. A witness described Yoko leaving the meeting shaken, pale, and struggling not to cry. And it was only the beginning. After that meeting, the agency executed the separation with military precision. Styling manipulation. Yoko was suddenly given elite stylists, premium makeup teams, and new wardrobe direction. Faye's styling appointments were delayed, downgraded, or moved to rush slots at the end of the day. Positioning on stage. Grace was moved to the center. Yoko was placed beside her. Faye was pushed to the edges, or cut entirely. Interview reassignments. Interviews originally meant for Fay and Yoko were mysteriously rescheduled. When the new versions came out, they featured Yoko and Grace instead. Heavy checkmark social media control. Fay's posts were restricted. Her approvals took days or weeks. Meanwhile, Yoko plus Grace posts were prioritized, often pushed within hours. Heavy checkmark rehearsal separation. This was the most heartbreaking. Staff were instructed to avoid putting Faye and Yoko together under any circumstances. One leaked document told staff, separate them at rehearsals. Do not allow prolonged interaction. This wasn't a drift. This was a deliberate dismantling. Several staff members came forward with disturbing accounts. Yoko cried backstage. According to one stylist, she didn't want to do it. She kept saying, Faye will think I abandoned her. Another insider said, she begged management twice to let her explain to Faye. They shut her down every time. Yet the agency kept pushing Yoko harder into the new role. Faye noticed everything. Faye wasn't oblivious. She saw Yoko pulling away. She saw interviews disappear. She saw Grace suddenly everywhere. But she didn't judge Yoko. She assumed it was stress, schedules, or industry politics, not a betrayal. A member of Faye's team revealed. She kept asking what she did wrong, but she hadn't done anything wrong. Faye didn't know she was being removed intentionally. Not yet. The entire scheme may have stayed hidden, if not for a critical mistake. A junior staff member accidentally uploaded an internal directive to a shared drive seen by freelance editors. The note read, do not allow photographs of Faye and Yoko together. Within minutes, screenshots spread through staff chats, then to fans, then to investigative reporters. The agency tried to cover it up, deleting files and issuing vague statements. But the leak unlocked a flood of confessions. Former staff, anonymous employees, ex-trainees, and current insiders began sharing pieces of the story. And once the puzzle pieces merged, the truth was undeniable. Yoko didn't replace Faye. She was forced to. Multiple internal reports obtained by this investigation show the agency's core reasons. 1. Her influence was too strong. Faye's fanbase challenged agency decisions. They demanded transparency. They exposed unfair treatment. An executive wrote, if we cannot control her fans, we cannot control her. 2. She overshadowed Grace. Grace's debut struggled whenever Faye was involved. Fans always preferred Faye, Yoko dynamics. 3. She refused to follow certain scripts. Unlike other artists, Faye often rejected manipulative PR tactics. 4. She was seen as too independent. Executives labeled her difficult to brand, which is code for too ethical to exploit. So the agency chose a simpler path. Erase her. By the third month of the separation, Yoko was reportedly emotionally exhausted. She had to smile beside Grace. She had to avoid Faye backstage. She had to pretend nothing was wrong. One assistant recalled, the day Yoko realized Faye knew something was wrong, she cried in the bathroom for 20 minutes. Another said, she was shaking before interviews. It wasn't ambition. It was guilt. But she remained silent, because silence was part of the contract. The story of how Faye discovered the truth is still debated, but 2 accounts dominate. Version 1, a staff confession. A sympathetic staff member, unable to watch the injustice any longer, told Faye everything. Version 2, a leaked document reached her. One of the canceled scheduling sheets, with unnecessary stamped over her name, was sent anonymously to her manager. Whichever version is true, insiders confirm the same ending. Faye was devastated. A makeup artist described the moment. She didn't cry loudly. She just stared at the paper for a long time. Then she whispered, so that's why. She didn't blame Yoko. She blamed the system. The same system that used her, then discarded her. The agency denied everything. They issued vague PR statements. They blamed scheduling conflicts. They called the documents miscommunication. Yoko stayed silent. Not because she wanted to, but because she was legally bound. Faye went quiet. Not defeated, just done. Fans connected the dots. Fan investigations uncovered inconsistencies in timelines, schedules, public statements, and event footage. More staff came forward. Some anonymously posted additional leaks, including rehearsal notes, makeup scheduling changes, photographic separation orders, internal memos labeling Faye a risk asset. The truth was no longer something the agency could hide. After months of investigation, one conclusion is crystal clear. Yoko didn't replace Faye. She was instructed, forced, directed, ordered. Faye wasn't sidelined by career changes or personal decisions. She was removed through a systematic, manipulative strategy designed to elevate another artist at her expense. The real tragedy is not just the breakup of a beloved partnership, but the emotional damage inflicted on both women. Yoko, forced to betray someone she cared about. Faye, blindsided by an industry she gave everything to. Grace, pushed into a narrative she never asked for. And fans, manipulated into believing a lie. This wasn't a breakup. This wasn't a drift. This wasn't fate. This was a cold-blooded, organized separation. A separation designed long before anyone saw it coming. A separation the agency never wanted the world to uncover. Now the truth is out, and nothing can ever be the same. Nobody knew when it began. Nobody knew the exact moment the shift happened. But people felt it, subtly at first like a quiet discomfort in the air. The way Yoko stopped looking at Faye during interviews. The way Faye's name slowly disappeared from promotional posters. The way their schedules no longer aligned, even when they both wanted them to. Fans chalked it up to normal industry drifting. They were busy. They had separate projects. Faye was rising too fast. Yoko was catching up. Maybe they just needed space. But what the public didn't know, what even the closest staff didn't realize at first, was that this wasn't space. This wasn't drifting. This wasn't natural. This was a separation. A strategic, cold-blooded, engineered separation designed months in advance. And Faye didn't fall for grace. She was pushed. Deep inside the agency's 19th floor conference room, while Fay and Yoko were still laughing together in backstage hallways, executives were building a different future, one that didn't include Faye at the top. Her popularity was becoming a problem, not because she wasn't talented, not because she wasn't hardworking, not because she wasn't profitable, but because she was too popular, too loved, too influential, too uncontrollable. Her fan base didn't just follow, they worshipped. And in an industry where agencies must remain the puppeteers, the last thing they wanted was a star they couldn't fully control. So they crafted a structure, a shift, a plan. Step 1. Pair Yoko with Faye. Let Yoko grow in Faye's shadow. Let fans begin to associate the two. Step 2. Increase Yoko's appearances. Give her the brighter costumes, the center positions, the more frequent interviews. Step 3.